quick disclaimer before we get into it. There's two ways we can test drive a car here at Montu Motors. One is to treat it like a princess and show how pretty it is and drive it like a baby. Or the other is to be realistic, and it's a 25-year-old sports car that someone set up for drifting. It's likely the previous owner had done a few drifts in this car. Another thing a lot of people don't realize is a lot of cars that we get may drive perfect, and if we didn't floor it, we wouldn't find issues. Let's say, for example, it drove perfect, but you floor it and it wasn't until 5,000 RPM where it started sputtering. Well, we wouldn't know that it had that issue at 5,000 RPM and started sputtering, so then we know to look into ignition and fix that so that you get a car that works. And so we're not here just beating on the car to beat on it, we're actually test driving the car and showing you how you can drive it if it were your daily driver. Hi, I'm Jeremy from Montu Motors, and this is a drift car. Alright, I know you saw some drifting earlier, but we're going to do a general test drive of this car to see what it's like if you were to daily drive it. So turning the blinker on, I reach because the steering wheel sticks out so far. So you'll have to reach a little bit further to turn the blinkers on or turn the wipers on. Just something to take note of while daily driving this. It actually drives pretty nice. It's got an S14 DET engine. The turbo picks up pretty quick, so it's got a lot of torque. The handling is very comfortable. Alright, here I'm in first right here, so I'll do wide throttle to show you how fast it is. Turbo comes on very quick. Turbo holds up till pretty much red line. It's a quick car. Obviously, if you do research on the SR20, you'll see there's a billet style SR20 that someone got over 2,000 horsepower with. But you can get a lot of horsepower with these motors. You just don't want that much horsepower when you're doing drifting. So this car is actually really balanced to be a drift car. We don't know who the previous owner was of this car, but they were definitely someone who did drifting. It's clear from the mods that they did. It's very drifting focused. The clutch is really light. It's really comfortable actually to drive as a daily driver. It has such a tight turning radius that it's very nice in parking lots. You can pull right into a parking spot. Oftentimes you may think, oh, well, I'm going to have to back up and then go back in the spot, but you don't have to do that with this. You just keep turning the wheel and the wheel keeps on turning, and you'll just end up in the parking spot somehow. This is definitely a driver's car. This is meant for someone who loves to drift and drive their cars. If you're focused on making your car real low, or if you're focused on making your car perfect and immaculate looking, this is probably not the car for you. But if you like having fun, you like throwing your car sideways, and you like to have a lot of potential with going in different directions, then this car would be a great fit for you. It's also a 4-cylinder, so it gets good gas mileage. This would make for a great daily. Well, thanks for joining me with this test drive, and we're gonna take a step outside and walk around the car real quick. And here's the drift machine. It's a Nissan Silvia S14, the same chassis as the USDM 240SX, except it comes with a SR20 DET engine, which is a 2-liter turbo, compared to the KA24DE, which is a 2.4-liter non-turbo. This car specifically has an aftermarket LSD, so it's set up for drifting. It's got aftermarket wheels, aftermarket suspension. And here you can see a giant aftermarket wing, and that thing actually has functionality to it. It helps give you a lot of downforce for doing high-speed drifts. The Silvias are popular drift cars for a lot of reasons, but a few of them are because of their long wheelbase, the fact that they're rear-wheel drive, their turning radius is great, they're reliable cars, and they're easy to mod. This car specifically has an aftermarket aero kit. I mean, who wouldn't want to drift in style? Here we'll go to the inside of the car. So here we have the steering wheel, and as you can see, it's really far out. What it does is it brings the steering wheel much closer so that you can actually have a good control of the steering wheel while also having a good pedal feel. Something to keep in mind is just how far away the blinkers and the wipers are as a result of that. And this is a drift steering wheel, so it's got markers on the steering wheel to very quickly realize where the center is, and then it says drifting. It's a drifting steering wheel. This is a e-brake set up for drifting. You can pull it up and drop it, and it's not going to lock. And what you do here is you pull the piece out, and then that's going to lock it so that you can actually still use it as a daily driver. But if you're going to use it to initiate drifts, you can just sort of pull it up and drop it and just pop it out and use it however you want for drifting. And here we have the infamous SR20 DET motor. A lot of people drop these into the USDM models because it's a pretty easy drop into the cars here because it's meant for this chassis. Here it's got a couple simple mods, nothing too crazy. I'll show you a little bit closer. You've got the strut bar, gives you some more chassis rigidity, which is definitely good for drifting. We got a torque damper which connects the chassis to the motor, and some simple mods just like intake piping, intercooler piping. Nothing too crazy to see, but that's a quick look at the engine bay on this S14 Silvia. Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you in the next video. This is the first time we created a video like this, so if you enjoyed it, let us know in the comments so we know if we should create more. We did it because we had some requests, and this is our first attempt at it. Just let us know in the comments what you thought, and let us know if you want to see some more, and if you're new here, then make sure to hit that subscribe button.